Hey, what's up, guys? It's Incorrect here back again, and right back to the Team 4 Stars DBcember Top 12 Sagas of Dragon Ball. We're finally back at it again. Last time, number 4 was what we discussed, the Cell Saga, or like the androids, including the Cell Saga. Well, we got 3 more entries left. I wonder what the top one is gonna be, but for now we're gonna see what number 3 is. Either could be Piccolo Jr. or the Saiyans or Frieza. I only set those in the chronological order, not in the order that I think that they're gonna be in the list. So yeah, just get into it. Number 3.
The 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai is the final arc of OG Dragon Ball's anime, a delineation
Piccolo
not made
Jr.?
into the manga. There are plenty of reasons
Yes.
thrown around for Toei to separate the anime, ranging from the change in overall direction of the story to Toei wanting to market it as a new show, with all the marketing advantages that would provide them. And as we'd see, this arc does in many ways provide a thrilling finale to this stage of Goku's life.
Hot off the 3-year time skip, we're quickly reintroduced to our lovable cast, many of them sporting some fresh new designs. And though a
Drip.
taller, more adult Krillin is definitely a surprise, nothing quite beats seeing Goku now fully grown. And while for American audiences who started with Z, this would seem to be a return to form, for Japanese audiences,
This must have been wild. Over 165 chapters and 3 whole
Right.
years of Kid Goku. And now, he's all grown up. It's a pretty monumental, even daring decision on the part of Toriyama, as it fundamentally affected
other
Goku's
anime
iconic design.
or
Then
cartoons,
again, I'm a Naruto fan, so it's not like I haven't
like
had the chance to
Pokemon,
experience
where they
something
keep
similar in
the
real time. By the
main
way, if you want
character
to, you
the
can check out my
same
Naruto
age
review series over on my
forever.
channel, Totally Not Mark.
luckily his design still cuts that distinct silhouette.
By the
While
way,
he
I've
is
never
aged up
seen
here, we
Naruto.
see him back in that classic gi.
Probably
And more
watch it
importantly,
someday.
his crucial innocent personality is intact.
I don't know when,
Though
but
he is markedly more mature in many ways.
Honestly, this may be my favorite version of Goku. It's a perfect combination of playful and experience. After his training with God, he seemingly achieved a sense of serenity, a calm
think
confidence that
Toriyama,
plays well
or
with his cheerful nature. And
I
each
guess you
solution
can
he
say
pulls out of
the
course of the tournament is
animators
just so satisfying, because
did
we've
their
seen
best
him
job
grow
with
into the man he is
Goku's
today.
design
We'll
there
never forget
in this
Toriyama
arc.
for getting rid of Goku's tail for good in this arc. But the bigger reveal of this saga is a full-grown Piccolo Jr. While we got small, adorable peeks at him in the arc prior, here he's fully matured and out for revenge for what
Strange
Goku
how
did
he's
to his
Piccolo
father.
Jr.,
The most noticeable change in his design is that he's
but he's supposed to
significantly
be like
younger
the
looking than King Piccolo
reincarnation.
was. Thinner and more angular, and sports
So he's
a
a
brand new,
reincarnation,
now iconic
but at the same
outfit.
time,
We also find over the
the
course of
son.
the tournament that he's more complex than his father ever was.
Speaking of the tournament, this is, in our opinion, the best Toriyama ever wrote. Though we don't begrudge his more gag-oriented matches from previous tournaments, here, it feels like there's very little fat. Each match contributes to the greater story, and it all starts with the first match.
We're introduced to Cyborg Tao in the preliminaries, where he conveniently removes Chaozu from the pot. And while it's certainly a surprise to see him back, and deadlier than
Kinyu.
ever, his inclusion in the tournament is solely to provide Ten Shinhan closure after the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. Which doesn't make this match bad, far from it. It's just maybe the weakest of the matches by virtue of it not contributing to the overall story of this arc. But immediately after this, we find Goku versus Name Withheld. I mean, Chi-Chi. Honestly, it's hard to say whether or not Toriyama played the long game with this one, or if he just so happened to make the perfect pull at the perfect time.
This
I'm
man
not
beats
sure which
up
would be
his
more impressive,
wife.
honestly, because having a character that we
However,
haven't seen for 3 years
Team
suddenly
4 Star said it in their
organically
Cell
and with a
Saga
monumental
abridged.
twist to the plot. Either way, you have to give this man kudos, especially with the subtle hints we're given to let us know that it's her. From her accent to her hair to the promise she mentions to Goku. And the reveal of Goku mistaking marriage for food? Peak Goku. It's a fun, monumental match that would forever change our protagonist's life and the very course of the series as a whole.
But screw romance, because the next match is one of my favorites, and it's arguably Krillin's best fight in the franchise. We know from the outset that Krillin isn't going to win this match. Hell, he knows it. As such, this fight isn't really about whether or not Krillin can win, but whether or not he can prove himself as a worthy opponent. Not just to Piccolo, but to the audience. Krillin's always played second fiddle to Goku, and despite his impressive outings before, he's struggled a lot. So we're essentially prepared here for a jobbing. But this plays out as anything but. managing to straight up shock Piccolo with his strength, tenacity, and strategy. Though our brave bald boy takes the L, he proves to Piccolo that this fight won't be as easy as he thinks.
This acknowledgement on Piccolo's part is also an important indicator that he is not the same character as his father. He takes this revelation in stride and even shows a budding but grudging respect, which all on its own makes him a more compelling character.
But no time to talk about that, because next is Yamcha versus Shen! Oh, Yamcha, you poor bastard. First chance in the series to getting past the quarterfinals, and Toriyama throws you up the God. And while Yamcha whips out a brilliant new technique with an amazing direct hit, proving he's still definitely an outstanding fighter, he is still but a stepping stone for Kami to get to Piccolo. But this reveal is also fascinating, and a great wrinkle to the arc.
Always getting eliminated in the first round.
Like he did with King Piccolo, and he's even hijacked a person's body just to hide who he is to get closer to Junior. Before those two can meet in the ring, we first need the biggest rematch in this series so far, with Tien Shinhan versus Goku. Now this is a fantastic fight, but its main purpose here is to give us an idea of just how far Goku has come between King Piccolo and now.
Just look at the design
and
of
also
man, it's so good.
Tien is outclassed here, and when he busts out the multiform technique, Goku just shows how wide their gap has become by instantly recognizing its weakness and defeating him effortlessly.
Leading to God meeting his nephew in the ring. As it turns out, God's no slouch.
Alright,
he does everything he can to put down his evil half, including the
brother,
Mappa technique,
self,
which our pickle lad learned how to reverse, putting God in a bottle and swallowing him down, keeping him safe in his tum-tum, leaving only Goku versus Piccolo Jr. And this match, well,
it's our number 2 fight in all of Dragon Ball.
It's our number 2 fight in all of Dragon Ball.
If you want to see a real breakdown of this fight, as well as many others that we've probably talked about previously, check out our DBcember list
if
for 2018.
you've only seen Dragon Ball Z and skipped Dragon Ball,
return in the next arc, but to different effects.
the whole journey from Dragon Ball to like the end of, you know, or to the beginning of Z, this fight makes up for it. Like, not saying that the entirety of Dragon Ball is terrible, like with fights, but like when you get to the point of this fight, it's, oh man, so good.
This finally sees Goku as the champion. It's the journey he's been on since he began training with Roshi, and through it all, his goal has been clear: improve for the sake of self-improvement. Not money, not glory, not pride, but just to be better and protect those around him. I also love how Goku just gives Piccolo a senzu bean, hoping that a bit of kindness and promise of a better fight would help him come around. And how he tells Kami, "No thanks, God, I don't want your job."
It's worth noting that this saga might have made our number 2, or even number 1, if it had been both grander in scale and hadn't relied on the tournament formula. Though it is arguably the best tournament in Dragon Ball, it's also Toriyama's 3rd go at it. And while it nails almost every single note, it's a song we've heard before, and it's one with built-in narrative limitations that keep us locked into a very narrowly focused story. But in that same vein, Toriyama works wonders within these limitations, and the story is one of the best paced and executed in Dragon Ball.
We got really granular in this review, partially because we wanted to emphasize just how little time is wasted in every fight, how incredible each encounter is, and just how phenomenal Toriyama nails this tournament. The last 2 Tenkaichi Budokai were fantastic in their own rights, but in many ways, they were all leading up to this, where Goku could show the fruits of his labor, beat the bad guy, save the world, get the girl, and soar off into the sunset.
This genuinely feels like the end of an era. Hell, the manga frames this finale as so monumental, Toriyama made sure to add a little Roshi at the bottom of the page to inform us that, don't worry, there's still more Dragon Ball to come. It's just so emotionally satisfying on every single level that, if it really had ended here, it would have felt right. Also, Manga Fushigi Adventure is the best Dragon Ball opening. I will not be taking any questions, thank you.
Okay, so that was number 3, the Piccolo Jr. arc, or the 23rd Tenkaichi arc. Don't disagree with the placement of the arc. To reiterate some other points that they said, that like the big thing is about Goku appearing for the first time as a not full grown adult, but like, you know, in his adult years. You know, drastic change from the little boy that followed through the first arcs. The art style, I think, is probably one of my favorites of all the other styles. I mean, it kind of lingers in through the Cell Saga and a little bit, like a tiny bit into the Frieza Saga, but like Goku's design in the arc when he's in the tournament is probably like my favorite of all, like throughout the whole series. There was a point that I wanted to make during the breakdown, but I didn't want to, interrupt it because they were talking about something else and it was, past the point of relevance, but I'll bring it back. They talked about how Shen borrowed somebody's body to participate in the tournament without like actually using himself, or not participating as himself in the tournament. And if you watched my analysis or breakdown about the other DBcember reactions, where I talk about how the Buu Saga is basically like a rehash, or not, I don't want to say reimagining, but there's a bunch of tropes that you've seen before throughout the whole series that they bring back in the Majin Buu Saga. And I think I've said a few things, but one that I didn't mention is that they bring back that idea of like somebody like of a deity coming and participating in the tournament, and you see here Kami participating in the tournament, but in this one he like actively participates and fights one of the fighters, whereas Kaioshin or Shin doesn't really fight. It's funny because in the Piccolo Junior, Kami calls himself Shen. In the dub, they call him Hero, I think. Yeah, but he calls himself Shen. But in the Majin Buu, the Supreme Kai calls himself Shin. I don't know, just a funny thing. And this arc is one of like the top arcs. The fights were good, and it appeared to be like an ending, but it wasn't really an ending because Toriyama had to reassure the reader that there was more to be seen. And that's when we go into the Dragon Ball Z parts of, the series. A lot of people think that there was a Dragon Ball and then a Dragon Ball Z manga, but not necessarily. Dragon Ball is its whole, like, one continuous thing. It's only, if I'm not mistaken, I think the only differentiator is the anime, where they actively like title one Dragon Ball and the other one Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. So I wonder what the last two are gonna be. Obviously we got the Friezas in the Saiyan Saga final two. Could be either or. So that was my reaction to number 3 DBcember top sagas by Team 4-Star. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys thought, if you agree or disagree. What do you think are going to be the last two entries? Yeah, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Adios.